At the family reunion I paid for, they gave everyone a custom t-shirt. Mine said biggest disappointment. I didn't argue. I just smiled, took out a stack of papers, tore them in half, and left. An hour later, they finally read what I destroyed and started calling nonstop. I wish I could say I didn't see it coming, that it hit me like a slap in the face, but honestly, it felt more like the final piece of a puzzle I'd been trying to convince myself didn't exist. I stood there holding the t-shirt, staring at the bold black letters like they were written in permanent marker on my chest. Biggest disappointment. Nice. My sister Laura was already giggling. It's just a joke. Frankie Ben gave me a lazy shrug from across the table, beer in one hand. Come on, man. You've got to admit it's kind of funny. My parents were silent at first, then my mom let out this light chuckle, like someone had told a slightly inappropriate joke at a PTA meeting. My dad shook his head, smiling like I just tripped on a sidewalk. I nodded once, then again, slower. Right. Funny. I folded the shirt neatly and set it on the edge of my plate. No one noticed that my hands were shaking just slightly, or if they did, they didn't care. I don't know what I expected. I paid for this entire reunion, venue, food, travel. I even paid for the matching shirts. That's the punchline, isn't it? They used my card to print that label. The joke's hilarious. I'd spent months organizing this weekend, reserved the old lakeside house they used to rave about, hoping foolishly that maybe nostalgia would soften things, that maybe I'd finally feel like part of something again. Instead, I got a printed confirmation of my place in the family. And the worst part? I didn't even feel angry, just tired in the kind of way that sinks into your bones and settles there like cement. I pushed back my chair, smiled, and said, "Be right back." I walked upstairs to the guest room, my room, technically, since I rented the entire property, and opened my bag. The folder was exactly where I left it, thick and crisp. I'd had the papers printed on special parchment, something that felt significant to hold, something they could keep. I'd even considered bringing champagne to go with the announcement. Instead, I walked back into the dining room and stopped just behind my empty chair. No one looked up, they were too busy posing for a group selfie in their new shirts. Perfect timing. I took out the folder, slid the papers from inside, and without saying a single word, I began tearing them in half, slowly, deliberately. Page by page. Laura turned first. "Wait, what is that?" Ben furrowed his brow. "Dude, is that a contract?" I didn't answer. My dad stood halfway. "Frank," I set the torn papers down in front of my empty plate, smiled again, tighter this time, and said, "Enjoy the shirts." Then I walked out. No yelling, no slamming doors, just footsteps against the old wood floor, the creak of the screen door behind me, and the cool night air pressing against my skin like relief. I didn't even take my jacket. I didn't need it. I was halfway to the car when the first call came in, then a second, then three more, like a dam cracking open. I didn't answer, not yet. Let them read what I destroyed first, let them feel it. I sat in my car for 10 minutes before even turning the key, just staring at my hands on the wheel, still calm, still too calm, like my body hadn't caught up with what had just happened. They laughed. That part kept looping in my head, my mom, my siblings, even my dad, like it was all so harmless, like calling me their biggest disappointment was just another cute little family quirk, right up there with Laura's passive-aggressive holiday cards and Ben's jokes about me being single. But it wasn't harmless, and it wasn't new. I could trace it back to when I was 12. That was the year I broke the neighbor's window with a baseball and got grounded for not stopping him. Laura lied about failing a test, and I got a lecture about being a bad influence. Every mistake in that house somehow had my name attached to it, even if I wasn't in the room. I remember getting an A in math for the first time. I cried, not because of the grade, but because I knew exactly what was coming: dinner table sarcasm, my mom's dramatic sigh, my dad's quiet disappointment. Meanwhile, Ben could fail an entire semester and still get extra spending money for trying his best. At 17, I begged them to co-sign a small student loan, not even money, just a signature. They said no, said I needed to learn responsibility. Ben wrecked 2 cars by then. Laura had already moved to Europe for a photography course they helped fund. But I needed to learn responsibility. So I worked nights, slept 4 hours a day, and built something from nothing, a tech service at first, then a subscription platform. I learned how to code, how to pitch, how to get rejected and keep going. I didn't ask for much, a little credit would have been nice, maybe we're proud of you. Instead, I became the running gag, the weird one, the guy who always showed up late to Thanksgiving because he was probably coding in a basement somewhere. When I got my first 6-figure investment, I told no one. When I cleared my student debt in one lump sum, I told no one. When my company went viral, still no one. It felt like if I told them, they'd just find a way to twist it, turn it into another joke, or worse, take credit for it. So I kept quiet. But I watched Laura host parties in apartments I knew she couldn't afford on her salary, watched Ben post cryptic Instagram captions about mental health only to DM me for money 2 days later, watched my parents struggle with their mortgage but still buy anniversary cruises. And I started helping quietly, an anonymous donation here, an untraceable transfer there, because despite everything, I still wanted to believe in family. I thought maybe if I gave enough, they'd finally see me. That fantasy shattered last Christmas. I offered to fly everyone out to a ski lodge I rented. My mom told me to save my money, then posted a status about how Laura surprised them with a family-funded holiday. That's when I decided, no more behind the scenes. The reunion I just left was supposed to be my reveal, a real one. I had it all lined up, a notarized letter gifting my parents early retirement, their mortgage wiped clean, a down payment agreement for Laura and her kids, a new start in a better school district, a debt relief fund for Ben, plus an optional job referral if he ever wanted to start fresh. Each document was signed, sealed, printed on heavy linen paper. I even picked navy blue folders to match the table decor. That's how far I went. I wanted it to be beautiful, memorable. I imagined the look on my mother's face when she read the letter, the tears, the pride, the slow realization that the son she once called directionless had built something big enough to give them a second chance. I imagined my father standing up, speechless, shaking my hand. I imagined Laura saying, "I was wrong about you. Damn, bro. I had no idea." I imagined so many things. What I got was a joke printed on a t-shirt.